In this episode, I explore two of North Texas' paranormal locations. I admit for years I lived only a short distance from these locations and remained oblivious of their existence. For that reason, I have returned to the town and streets I was once well acquainted with to see if there's any truth behind the tales, and perhaps have a profound encounter. Nestled by the town of Denton, Texas, lies Old Alton Bridge. Since its construction in 1884, this now forgotten bridge has acquired an unusual moniker, the Goatman Bridge. Hello everyone, and welcome to another profound paranormal investigation. We're in Denton, Texas, at the site of the Old Alton Bridge, otherwise known as the Goatman Bridge. There are numerous local legends and sightings of paranormal activity, including sightings of what you might guess, a goat-man creature, satanic cults, and all kinds of other spirits. So, about to trek across the bridge, which is behind me right now. But pretty interesting location, tucked aside a little back road in Denton. With 4th of July being only like 2 weeks ago, I think somebody had a nice little 4th of July celebration. There's a stack of burnt out fireworks back there. But let's take a look at the bridge right now. There it is behind me right there. So we're gonna take a walk across and just check it out. Here we go. Okay, so here we go, guys. There is so much graffiti written on the bridge, as you might imagine, being so old. Take a look. It's a nice little bridge, though. A small little thing tucked away in Denton. A little apprehensive coming up to this particular site, given all the sinister and negative stories people have about it. But already walked across. After my initial trek across the bridge, I didn't feel or see anything abnormal. On my return crossing, I decided to conduct an experiment. It has been widely reported that to make something paranormal appear or make itself known, all one has to do is knock on the bridge 3 times. Sturdy construction. After several attempts of knocking, there was little in the air other than the sound of traffic on the nearby road and planes flying overhead. Not that I was too discouraged that a reportedly 8-foot-tall goat creature did not come out to greet me. I could only wonder what kind of tall tale gave rise to this Texas cryptid. Texas certainly does not lack in the cryptid department, but that is for future investigations. And with that, I said goodbye to the Old Alton Bridge. It is widely known that in 1947, that an unidentified object reportedly crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. News of the extraterrestrial crash quickly spread, and the classic cover-up soon followed that included a government cover-up of the crash, its wreckage, and the numerous alien bodies that were uncovered. But it is often forgotten or dismissed that a small Texas town had a similar incident decades before Roswell. Barely an hour's drive outside of Denton lies the small town of Aurora. This small Texas hilltop community is known for having quite an interesting story. In the early morning hours of April 1897, the residents of Aurora, Texas, looked up into the early morning sky to see what can only be described as an airship coming down in their small town. It has been widely reported that before it crashed down, the airship struck a local windmill. The residents of Aurora reported the crash to officials in neighboring Fort Worth, who came to investigate. In doing so, they uncovered amongst the wreckage the remains of a pilot that was, quote, not of this world. This otherworldly discovery made news in Fort Worth, but garnished little attention compared to Roswell years later. What came next has sparked an 124-year mystery. The residents of Aurora took it upon themselves to give the pilot a proper burial in their local cemetery, where the pilot is rumored to still lie today. Legends say the original grave marker for the alien pilot has been moved, stolen, and replaced by the town in an attempt to hide the grave from those that would try to disturb the remains. It will be this alien grave marker that will be my first stop in this investigation. So here we are, everybody, at the Aurora Cemetery, where in the late 1800s there was an unidentified crash of an object that no one really knows about, but reportedly hidden or buried in this cemetery is the pilot from that crash. So we're going to take a look for that marker right now. So here, everybody, you can see the marker, which is obviously a shrine to the unidentified pilot, which some will think is extraterrestrial. Quite an assortment of coins all over the floor, so I'm going to leave my coin on the shrine too. Now, we may never know exactly the origins of the pilot flying a device or object well before there were planes. So it's a pretty good tall tale from Texas. So thank you for following me along. The trip to the alien grave marker gave me a feeling of reassurance. Seeing all the mementos of the countless others that have ventured to this small cemetery just for the possibility of being in the presence of otherworldly life right beneath our feet. After leaving the cemetery, I quickly learned, however, how the current residents of Aurora have learned to capitalize on the town's unique history. Located just off the main road through Aurora sat a diorama statue of the alien crash, set up like a tourist photo op that was situated right next to the properly named Martian Margarita stand. Although I didn't know what to expect when I traveled to Aurora, I half expected to find these sights in small town Texas. After spending time in Aurora, I acquired more questions than ever about the famous incident. Namely, what did the residents truly see falling from the sky 6 years before the first plane flight. Although there were hot air balloons, there weren't too many traveling in the North Texas skies at the time. On the opposite side, if this truly was a hoax, where did this story come from? What would cause turn-of-the-century Texans of a small town to come up with such an elaborate story involving an extraterrestrial that included burying a body in their local cemetery? At this time, visitation by otherworldly visitors was not a national topic. The Aurora incident even predates H.G. Wells' famous novel War of the Worlds by 8 months. In conclusion, we may never know what happened in Aurora so long ago. It might be for the best, so we might keep wondering and thinking what might be buried in Aurora Cemetery. Because on the day we lose that sense of wonder, that will be the day that Aurora sells its last Martian margarita. Until then, I'll remain one of those that keeps watching the skies, wanting to believe.